Hey everyone, welcome to Turbo Times. I'm your host, Turbo. Here on Turbo Times, we discuss everything blockchain and cryptocurrency related, anywhere from today's price, what's moving the price, the news, and an emphasis on education. So if that's something that sounds interesting to you, hit the like and the subscribe button. It's free for you and it really helps the channel grow. It means a lot to us. Thank you very much. Also, continue to interact in the comments. You guys have been doing a great job of that. If you have any questions or if there's something that I haven't covered that you'd like me to, leave that in the comment section and I'll get to it. All right, with that, let's get right on with today's show. First of all, news and price. So the market is up 7% on the 24-hour with a market cap just over 1.1 trillion. Bitcoin is up on the 24-hour to almost 36,000, sitting at 35.9 currently. It's 12.7% up on the weekly. And the news is also Ethereum's current price. We are in new territory with 11.2% on the 24-hour to $1,520 per Ethereum token. So congrats to all you Ethereum holders. That's pretty much it for the big news today and the market price. So let's move right into questions and any cleanup from yesterday. First of all, we'll do the cleanup. Sorry, I apologize for the extremely long video. I'm working on the timing. Today's will be much better. I got myself a little timer going on over here, monitoring. So if you see me glance over there, that's why. I'm trying to do much better on the timing. And this one, our education topic today is going to be proof of stake versus proof of work. And you can really go a deep dive into that, but we're just going to kind of skim the surface and give you a basic understanding. And that brings us to the question of the day. And our question today comes from Garrett. Thank you, Garrett. He asks, any thoughts on eToro? I've been playing around with the simulated digital market. It's pretty informative. They allow you to have 100K in fake coin to learn with. It's a really good question. I know about eToro, but I haven't gone over, signed in, gotten an account and tried it yet. It is on my to-do list because it's a great way to discover if your trading techniques are making you money, losing you money, or breaking even. So, and at the very least, it'll be educational. And also, thank you to subscriber Ms420 who replied in that thread suggesting that we study the Wyckoff trading method. I have heard of the Wyckoff trading method, and I do intend to get around to studying that. It's again on my to-do list. I'll report back once I've done both of those things. But as far as you, Garrett, let me know how your experience goes on that platform trading fake money. My advice would be to don't treat it as fake money. Use it as real money. Of course, you can make mistakes on it, but use it as real money so that way you're incentivized to learn. And let me know how that goes. Let the rest of us know how that goes. All right, moving right along into today's education topic, which, like I told you, is going to be proof of work versus proof of stake. So first of all, what is proof of work and proof of stake? They are essentially all blockchains are a digitally recorded ledger that continually reaches something called consensus in order to secure the network. How they do this is different, whether it's proof of work or proof of stake. While there are other means of reaching consensus, the two biggest ones are proof of work and proof of stake, and those are the ones we're going to talk about today because the majority of all blockchains are utilizing one of those two. There's my, okay, so let me hit stop on this dude. Apologies, I'm gonna have to work on that timer so it doesn't make noise. I thought it wasn't making noise, but apparently it is. All right. So proof of work, well, first of all, they both utilize a financial incentive to get them to secure the network, to reach consensus. So proof of work, it's done by using a predetermined reward as a monetary incentive, and this reward decreases over time based on what the original white paper had stated in it. For example, with Bitcoin, Bitcoin started out January 3rd at 2009 at 50 coins per block, and since then it's halved. In other words, the reward has decreased by 50% approximately every 4 years. When it started out, there were 7,200 Bitcoins mined per day as a reward, and now today we're down to only 900 Bitcoins mined per day as a reward. But also the value of those Bitcoins has increased quite a bit, so the incentive is still there. While proof of stake utilizes the fees that are generated during that block cycle as the reward for, in proof of stake, they're called validators. So first of all, proof of work can also be called mining. That's the term you've probably heard most often. And what that is it's the process of being the first to solve a mathematical problem in return for a predetermined reward. While in proof of stake, the validation process, the reward is chosen at random, kind of, and I'll get to that in just a second. But the reward are the fees collected during that cycle, like I just said. So let's talk about the differences when it comes to pros and cons for proof of work versus proof of stake. So proof of work, and the biggest example there is Bitcoin. Most other cryptos use proof of stake, but so we'll just talk about the pros of Bitcoin and proof of work. First of all, it's highly secure. It's darn near impossible to achieve a 51% attack on the network, because in order to do so, you would have to have 51% minimally of the total computing power at any one given fractionation of a second, and currently the computing power just doesn't exist. So the first pro is that proof of work is very secure. Secondly, it has withstood the test of time. It's been around since 2009, and Bitcoin has not been breached in any way, shape, or form since then. Thirdly, it's fair. Anyone with the hardware can mine for the coins, and that one's kind of as well. And the reason why is because the hardware is increasingly expensive. So it's fair in the fact that anyone can do it. There are no other prerequisites, but you have to have the cash to be able to buy the very expensive mining computers. As time goes on, the algorithms to solve the mathematical problem get increasingly difficult, which is why the cost of the computer goes up. So that's one of the negatives. But the fourth pro for proof of work is that it drives competition, because there is a set predetermined reward. You know how much you could potentially make. It incentivizes more and more people around the globe to try to mine for the Bitcoins, and the more nodes there are on the network, the more secure the network. So that's how the whole blockchain is secured using proof of work. Now the negatives, because there are some on proof of work, and the biggest one is that it uses a massive amount of energy. And in today's geopolitical environment, whether you believe it or not, is moving towards green energy. So nobody wants to use all this energy just to secure a network. So that's the biggest negative. The second one I briefly touched on, it costs a lot of money for the hardware. As the blockchain grows and the reward increases, the hardware to solve the problems becomes very, very expensive. And then lastly, the mining pools can become centralized. And the way that happens is because the hardware is so expensive, then what is offered up is you can pool your money so that a whole pool of money can come together and buy the computer or the several computers that are needed to mine Bitcoin. And if one entity, whether it be in a geographic location or a political affiliation or something like that, has more money than another group, then the powers of that blockchain can become either physically centralized or politically, ideologically centralized. It hasn't happened yet, but there are concerns currently over China having geographically, at least, a majority, just over 50% of the hash power for Bitcoin, while the money and the pools come from all over the globe. Geographically, they're all stationed in China right now. So there's a concern of that. But right now, it's not that big of a concern. All right, proof of stake, pros and cons. So the biggest pro for proof of stake is that it's way greener. It does not use nearly as much energy. And it's because the second pro, almost anybody can do it. The hardware is a lot cheaper, and so just about anybody can go buy themselves a computer and become a validating node on the network. And it can also be very decentralized for that very reason. There's a caveat to that as well. And really that brings me into the only negative about proof of stake, which is that it can be centralized in utility. The blockchain might not ever be centralized, but the way it acts and the way it performs can act like it, as is the case, or the concern with XRP currently, that the prerequisites that are established or set in place right now for XRP to become a validating node on the network, you have to have a ton of money, and you probably have to be a big, powerful bank on a global scale. So if you don't meet those two requirements for a ledger like XRP, then you're not going to be able to become a validator node. Therefore, all the political ideology governing or securing that network can become centralized. So there you go. There's some pros and cons for both proof of work and proof of stake. In my opinion, everything is moving towards proof of stake, and eventually we'll come up with the technology to even start securing Bitcoin on proof of work versus proof of stake. I forgot to say some prime examples of proof of stake tokens are Ethereum, Dogecoin, and I just touched on XRP. One of the interesting things about Ethereum is when they launched 2.0, they plan to move from proof of work to proof of stake. Currently, they are operating on proof of work, but they will become proof of stake. So we'll look out for that news in the future. But that's all we got for the education topic today. Basically, we covered what proof of work and proof of stake are, what mining is versus validation, how the rewards are paid out. Hopefully that increased your knowledge about the cryptocurrency space in general just a little bit. If it did, leave me a comment and hit the like and or subscribe button. Would appreciate it. So the very last thing is an update on me, and there's nothing still. I am waiting to hear back from the doc on my scan results from last week. So my travel plans out west are being delayed due to that. But as I know, I will let you know. And then very, very lastly, I would like to say thank you to everyone who continues to pray for me. I really appreciate that. That means the world to me. And so I would like to ask for your help you prayer warriors. My friend's mother actually had a very serious surgery today. It went extremely well. She's in recovery, and the hospital is going to keep her for about a week. So if you could just pray that her recovery continues to go well, maybe even better than expected, and that she leaves the hospital in approximately a week with a clean bill of health. That would mean a lot to me. It would mean a lot to her. And that's all I've got for today. So